Alright, welcome to another day of theater class online! Woohoo! Hopefully you were able to get your monologues done and everything's great. Quick check. House points. That's where we're currently at, but I've received a monologue. One today so far. Hopefully it'll be more by the time you guys are watching this, because I'm not posting this till tomorrow. Or later tonight, so that you don't look at it till tomorrow. I don't know. Anyway, so one assignment from House Reeves so far. That's 10 points. Someone from House Reeves asking me questions this morning. 10 points. I had someone from House McKellen asking me questions this morning. 10 points. And someone from House Downey making sure they had the packet that they needed. That's 10 points. That's what we call being proactive, which, if you remember to the very beginning of our school year, is part of the 7 habits. So yeah, still advocating for those. Alright, well, hopefully by now you guys have found your packet and figured out how to get that. So if you will open up your packet to the second page, it should say the Stage and School Theater Textbook Packet, Chapter 5, Setting the Scene, Lesson 2, okay, because it is day 2 that we are doing theater class online. So this kind of goes back to Greek theater, which is what we started the school year with, if you can remember that far back. And kind of goes a little more in depth about the things that we already talked about. Especially from the point of view of the Greek philosopher Aristotle. He actually contributed a lot to the theater field, especially for a guy that was into philosophy and science. More on that later. So Aristotle, he wrote what was called the Poetics. It's just a short paper that talks about the important aspects of playwriting and all that. And he said that there are 4 narrative essentials, and you can read all of this in the packet, so if you don't want to listen to me explain it, just shut the movie down. No hard feelings. Anyway, so 4 narrative essentials: exposition, plot, characters, and theme. And he kind of details those. We're not going to go super in depth. But from there, he also identifies 6 elements that a play should have. And those 6 elements are spectacle. I can talk. Spectacle. Which is the visual part of the play, right? Like the scenery, the costumes, everything that you can see. Sound, which is what you hear. And, I mean, in modern terms, we actually use sound effects and things. Diction, which is the words and how they're saying the words and all of that stuff. Character, which are the characters, the people in the play. Reasoning, so the way that the speech is presented, like the emotions and that kind of thing. And finally, plot. And he argued that plot is the most important part because, I mean, even if all of those other things are not quite there, plot is, that's the story, and that's what's important, is the story of the play. Okay? He also argued that the sequence of the play has to make sense, kind of in a cause and effect sort of way. Like, the character did this, thus this happened to them, and then they did this, and thus this did happen to that, and those reactions of, ooh, this happened, so I'm going to react this way, this happened, I'm going to react that way, that's going to cause this, blah, blah, blah. Linear timeline, right? Now, you guys remember when we talked about play structure, we talked about some alternatives to the usual play structure, where things don't exactly move in a linear fashion like that. That's after Aristotle. That's much later. So basically Aristotle just came in and he said, hey, this is what I think makes a good play. This is the trend I'm seeing. And then later some people were like, hey, want to see what happens if we break Aristotle's rules? And then we get experimental theater. Which is really fun, and you guys know that I love talking about experimental theater, but that's not what we're here for today. Alright, so once you've read the information that's at the top of that packet, it's a good 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs of information and some definitions. Once you've done that, you're going to go down to where it says utilizing the information from above, answer the following questions, okay? And I'm going to give you guys some examples. Like, I'll answer all the questions right now here so you can kind of see what I'm looking for. So you have a better idea of what you need to write down. Once you've written it down, typed it out, whatever, take a picture of paper, send me the Word document. If you really can't do any of those things, keep it till we come back together, I guess. But I will be giving house points for those of you who get your assignments in, so if you can, you should turn them in. It makes my life easier. Alright, question 1. What are some actions that you have taken in your life that have led to either happiness or misery? This is a really easy question. I definitely think that going to college and choosing to major in theater and taking that alternative path to be a licensed teacher has brought me a lot of happiness in my life. And just even moving to Jasper and deciding to stick with you guys, even though that first year was really, really rough. Man, I miss your faces. So yeah, I would say that one of the actions that I've taken in my life was studying theater and then deciding that I was going to take theater and go to a community where the kids didn't have as much opportunity and kind of give them that opportunity has made me so happy, immensely happy. So, number 2, what do you feel is the theme or moral of your own personal life? Oh my goodness. I would say probably one of the themes or morals from my life is that hard work always pays off. And I know sometimes when I talk it might seem like things just magically went perfectly in my life and I was super, super blessed, but it's not always been all peaches and roses. Matter of fact, it never has been all peaches and roses. And I've had a really hard time getting things done, and I've had to fight my way to be where I am. So yeah, hard work, definitely a theme in my life. What are 2 things that Aristotle communicated? Wow, I'm struggling today, guys. What are 2 things that Aristotle contributed to drama that you personally vibe with? Things that speak to your soul. Well, number 1, the fact that Aristotle even contributed anything to theater is incredible to me. Especially nowadays, we tend to separate science and art, and like there's this line here and you don't cross that line, or people are like, an artist doing science, or someone who's into science doing art, which, I mean, realistically, it's not really that way. There are tons of science people that are good at art, tons of art people that are good at science. We just tend to separate them. So I really appreciate that Aristotle did not think that art was too stupid or emotional for him to kind of look at and see. I think we can learn a lot about humanity through the arts. So I really appreciate he took the time to do that. I also really appreciate that he said that theater is a really good way to kind of explore the human experience, because honestly that's why I do it, because it does give us the chance to find out what it means to be human and experience things that we otherwise would not be able to. So I really appreciate those 2 things. I'm trying to hurry this up. Question number 4. What is one thing that was a pleasure for you to learn in your life? Why? Theater. Y'all know that. I love theater. Theater has been like the most cathartic, wonderful way for me to explore the human experience and get to know people. It has brought me a huge sense of empathy in my life, and honestly, I don't know where I'd be without it, which is why I teach it. So there you go. Finally, which of Aristotle's 6 elements of play do you like the most, and why? I really respect that he thought plot was the most important one. I understand that, but I think for me personally, character's my favorite. Just because I love the idea of individual people having individual personalities, that their choices have led them to this point, and just looking at people as an individual instead of as a group of people, you know, like a group of teenagers in your class. It's not just a group of teenagers that want to cause trouble, but they've got stuff going on in their lives, and my job's to understand that and dig deeper into your characters. So I appreciate character the most. There you go. That's my answer to the 5 questions. Again, if you guys have any questions, need anything, just let me know, and we'll take care of you. Alright, see ya!